Together with our allies overseas, the JLC is pushing back against a well-orchestrated campaign to demonize Israel as an apartheid state. This is not a disagreement with certain Israeli policies, something that is quite legitimate. Rather, it's a campaign whose end goal is to undermine the very idea of a Jewish state, and they've made some headway in doing that. Yet while unions in some countries bought into that new twist on what is still anti-Semitism, I'm proud to tell you that here in America, not a single union has. And thanks to some of the people at this table and in this room, they never will. But not all of the threats facing Israel today are coming from outside its borders. Some are homegrown. We've all been thrilled by the winds of change in the Middle East. Still, with this change, we've also seen new expressions of contempt for Israel within the Arab world. It's a contempt that's rooted in no small part in the conviction that Israel will never accept the right of the Palestinians to an independent state. And sadly, Israel is cursed with a right-wing coalition government that's regularly giving credence to it. We all know Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu talks a good game about a two-state solution, but at the very same time, his administration continues to promote the construction of illegal settlements on the West Bank, a policy that severely impedes negotiations. It's like an employer who comes to the bargaining table telling us he wants a contract that's a win-win for both sides, while at the same time he has his lawyers working on decertification petitions. The upshot is that Hamas, a terrorist organization that murders Israeli men, women, and children and Palestinians, is winning new support. And as they do, moderates who were once ready to negotiate peace are backing away and trying to sound as tough as the terrorists. The truth is that if Netanyahu doesn't negotiate with the Palestinian moderates today, there simply won't be any moderates left to negotiate with tomorrow. That's why it's time for all of us, Jew and non-Jew, to send a message to Prime Minister Netanyahu and his coalition that the only path to peace is through good faith negotiations with the Palestinians. There's nothing anti-Israel about being pro-peace and looking for a settlement worked out fairly by both sides. We all understand that, and I'll tell you someone else who does, President Obama. That's why Netanyahu's supporters in this country have pulled out the stops to slander the president as some kind of enemy of Israel. They hope that if they repeat that lie long and loud enough, that some Jews might actually fall for it, enough maybe to flip Florida against President Obama this fall. Who would they replace him with? Maybe a guy like Rick Santorum, a man who said that allowing Palestinians to have their own country on the West Bank would be like the U.S. giving Texas back to Mexico, which, come to think of it, may not be that bad of an idea. Now, the JLC is barred from getting involved in elections, but we are not barred from telling the truth. And as I see it, the truth is that Israel has no stronger friends in this country today than Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Hillary Clinton. And the Jewish community in Florida and across America needs to understand that. It's about observing what's right and doing what's just. For 77 years, that's been the vision that guided the JLC. From its fight against the rise of Nazi Germany in the 1930s, through its battles against segregation in the 50s and 60s, to its work for strong labor laws and a secure Israel today, the JLC of 2012 remains what it's always been: labor's voice in the Jewish community and a uniquely Jewish voice in the House of Labor. A voice for human rights, a voice for economic justice, a voice for freedom, and a voice for peace.